Tonight we meet the man who may be the new star of the small screen. A clown who's looking further afield for his stardom. And a local marching team which didn't quite attain the stardom of the weekend, but did pretty well anyway. Good evening. Former Queenstown Lakes District Council Secretary Richard Vallely has been sentenced to 18 months in prison for stealing council and airport authority funds, totalling $133,000. Vallely pleaded guilty to 9 fraud-related charges and not guilty to a false pretences charge, which is to be heard in May. Judge Joe Anderson said Vallely had let down local body executives throughout New Zealand and embarrassed the Queenstown Local Authority. However, he said it wasn't appropriate to make an order for reparation. Queenstown's much heralded international airport looks like being delayed a few more years yet. The local airport authority is putting the finishing touches on a $1 million plan to upgrade the existing terminal at Frankton. As Michael Lynch reports, it's money that might have been spent on the new airport.
Come July, an Ansett Whispering Jet 146 will be bringing tourists into Queenstown direct from the north. It'll be flying into an airport terminal already severely congested at peak times, forcing the hand of the airport authority into extensions. That's a setback for the grander airport plans.
Well, I think the new airport has gone back into a couple of years in its concept, but I think at the end of the day we will still get a new airport.
When you say gone back a couple of years, what do you mean?
Well, I guess it's in the 5-year term or something like that.
Ansett wants a bigger share of the existing terminal, and it's not the only one. A few years ago, Mount Cook Airlines and the helicopter line virtually had the terminal to themselves. Now there are 5 airlines servicing Milford Sound alone. These smaller operators feel they won't be much better served for counter space in the new design, and they're kicking up already.
I think that will probably be a controversial point because a lot of our business is walk-in custom. You know, people coming off airlines, they want a limited time, they want to go, say, to Milford Sound for the day, and we depend on a reasonable sort of frontal area, for exposure, really.
And on the plans we've got at the moment, you're not going to get that?
Well, it's possible, yeah. We'll certainly be lobbying for it.
But the question many locals want answered is where the controversial Boeing 737s fit into Queenstown's enlarged airport terminal. It seems Mount Cook Airlines, or its parent company Air New Zealand, has taken the back seat to Ansett.
737s I don't think will come in. There is too much opposition to the noise, and I think we've got the opportunity of having a quiet jet. That's what they'll be having.
And Ansett's quiet jet could be in Queenstown as early as June.
One of the country's big cement companies, Melbourne, New Zealand, has reported a 20% drop in profits last year as the downturn in the building industry hit sales. Closing the Burnside Cement Works cost the company $3 million, though this was offset by income tax revisions. Melbourne's net profit of almost $7 million was $1.5 million down on the previous year, even though overall turnover was up slightly. The frontman for Television New Zealand's new Current Affairs programme was in Oamaru today, drumming up interest for the new show. Called simply Holmes, it'll run weekdays at 6:30 after the network news. Bernard Buck's been to Oamaru to talk to the man Television New Zealand believe will make it all happen.
It's a busy day for the 38-year-old broadcaster. It's only 9 o'clock and he's already driven from Dunedin to Oamaru for his 3rd appointment of the day at Radio Waitaki.
North Otago's Radio Waitaki, good morning. It's 10:17, and my guest in the studio this morning, Paul Holmes.
His host this morning is announcer Craig Boddy, and the subject, the new Holmes programme due to start on Monday week. Holmes takes it all in his stride. Currently, he's host of 1ZB Auckland's breakfast show News Talk. In just 2 years, he's lifted the programme's ratings to within a tenth of a point of top-rated personality Merv Smith. But for mainlanders, he'll probably best be remembered or forgotten for his stint on television's Current Affairs programme Midweek with Holmes over the Christmas holidays. So in this new programme, Holmes, what's he coming up with that's better than what the public's getting?
I see the programme as being extremely lively, trying perhaps to break some new ground, breaking free from some of the bounds of the past. I see it as being very immediate, a little bit rough around the edges, a bit unpredictable, perhaps dangerously so. It's not going to be all Holmes.
So much for the style, but what about the content of the items themselves? Apart from a short holiday in Dunedin and a working spell in Christchurch, how much does he know about the South?
I know a bit about the region. I read some of the national dailies, and I know that there are very serious concerns down here, which are actually quite often just variations on concerns that people have in the north.
How much regional input will there be?
I could say to you there will be... We could have a rule that there must be 3 things per week, or 5 things. I would rather throw away the whole idea of regions and look at the whole program as serving a nation, as bringing a nation together. If there is a focus of interest in Oamaru, in Timaru, in Dunedin, more often there'll be one probably nationally in Dunedin, we'll be there. I don't care how we're going to do it. I don't care if it is only at the moment written down that we have 2 reporters for the South Island and Christchurch, and I know that in the industry that is a sore point. I would rather not look at that and say, there's something happening in Wyndham, by God, let's get down there and do it.
While some viewers may see Holmes as something of a city slicker, he explained to listeners this morning that he was born and educated in Hastings. And because of this, he believes he and his program will have a special empathy with smaller communities.
And now we meet another entertainer who's known and loved in small communities and large ones all around New Zealand. 43 years ago, he was a young German boy who dreamed of being a clown. His dream came true, and today comedy is serious business for him. But as Vicky Wilkinson-Baker reports, the man who's made thousands of New Zealand school children laugh is just about to try his jokes out on a new audience.
Make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh. Don't you know everyone wants to laugh? My dad said be an actor, my son, but be a comical one. They'll be standing in line for the...
For 7 years, making him laugh is exactly what Shivan Clown's been doing. He's won a lot of fans touring New Zealand schools. The routine looks spontaneous, but most of it's planned, well-polished and practiced. At 50 years old, Gunter Bennung believes laughter is the most important thing in the world. And for him, it's something that comes from inside.
I think it has to come out of your, out of what I call my sun center. It has to come from your heart. And once you share, a person shares from the heart. And that's the opening for other people to open up themselves and to share with you and to laugh with you.
Put it right up here. Good girl. Good boy.
You know, when you see people laughing and enjoying, that's when you got it right. But you got a feeling, you have a feeling, and you have a precise feeling, whether you got it right or not. You pick it up, and it's undescribable. We talk about timing as actors and performers, and if you get your timing right, it's a switch. It's a dialogue between myself and my audience, and if this dialogue works, it's a listening, and of course I believe that listening is loving, and if that sort of works, then I got it right.
I'm so happy to be a clown. Oh, it's wonderful.
Gunter Bennung's days of clowning around New Zealand are just about over. Next month he's off to Japan, where he says cultural activities receive more recognition and better pay. He's not expecting language to be a problem.
I communicate on so many different levels. I communicate with my eyes and with my body and with words and sounds and music. So, well, I might have some, but I'll learn Japanese.
Shivan Clown will be missed at home, but says with all the stress of modern life, his young Japanese audiences need a few laughs as well.
Dunedin really turned on some wonderful weather yesterday for the National Marching Championships, but unfortunately most of the trophies were carried off by North Island teams. Otago and Southland didn't get a look in. Never mind, Otago's Southern Pride was gallant in defeat, and here it completes its march plan. they do look good, don't they? Today's 3 o'clock temperatures. Half Moon Bay was sunny with 12 degrees. Invercargill partly cloudy and 12, and a high tomorrow of 16. Gore overcast 10, Balclutha windy and 12. Dunedin showers 11, tomorrow 16. Palmerston sunny and 11, Oamaru fine and 16. Lumsden had 9 degrees, Queenstown showers and the low today of 7. It was partly cloudy in Wanaka but 13 degrees, and showery in Te Anau as well and 9 degrees. We'll be back tomorrow night. Bye-bye.